If you don't think you can build your arms with resistance bands, then I dare you to do this workout. And if you're already a band user, then you're gonna love this arm workout. First up, we're gonna do some low anchor resistance band curls. So what you're gonna need, I'm using two 41-inch bands on a low anchor point. You can use a wall anchor, you can use a door anchor strap, anything that you can attach to at a low point. And then I also got a pair of clenched band handles here. And we are gonna face away here, so we can kind of pull those elbows back behind our spine, and then we're gonna pin them to our side. And then sometimes I like to get a little bit of a forward lean just so that I can make sure that I step away from the anchor point far enough to really straighten my arm and pull that bicep into that fully lengthened position. And then from there, like I said, we're pinning elbows into our side, and then we're curling up, pivoting at the elbows only, big squeeze at the top, and then control it on the way down. I want 2 to 3 seconds on the negatives here, because the negative is half of the rep. If you just let that band slingshot you back down, it's not doing anything for anybody. So once again, control it on the way up. Big squeeze at the top, squeezing those biceps, feeling that blood going in there, and then let it down nice and slow. And remember, step away from the anchor point to get more resistance. And then also, we're gonna be doing 3 sets of 8 to 15 reps here, and I want you pyramiding that resistance up on each set. So you start higher in the rep range, warming up towards that 15 reps, and then as you progress through the sets 2 and 3, I want you increasing that resistance, whether you're stepping further away from the anchor point or adding more bands to this. And then the reps should drop so that when you do your last set, you're hitting that maybe 8 to 9 rep range, and they're just very, very difficult to accomplish. All right, next up, we are gonna be doing some reverse curls, and my favorite way to set these up is using the Nexus bar from Clench Fitness and a single 41-inch band. And what's awesome about this, super easy. All I need to do is step right into one half of this band, and it's super smooth. And now I'm taking a reverse grip, so overhanded grip here, and we're gonna be doing some bicep curls. So basically standing up straight, pulling that core in tight, sucking those elbows into our sides, and then we're just gonna be pivoting at the elbow, curl it up all the way, big squeeze at the top, and the same thing as before, controlling it on the way down. Make sure that you're controlling it so that you get the full range of motion, as well as the eccentric and the concentric portion of this rep. We're doing the same thing as before, 3 sets of 8 to 15 reps. And if you really wanna challenge yourself on these, I'd prefer to put your back flat up against the wall. That'll keep all of the momentum out of this exercise and just focus all of that stress into the biceps and into that brachialis muscle. Big squeeze, let it down nice and slow. And the reason I chose reverse curls is so that we get some more work on more of your arm, right? So with a reverse curl, you're gonna be engaging some of that brachioradialis in the forearm, you're gonna be getting biceps, and then you're also gonna be getting that brachialis muscle kind of on the side of your arm. So that'll really help to fill out those arms and help you to grow and develop strength all around and really work on just a full, well-rounded arm. All right, last exercise for the biceps, we're gonna do some single arm preacher curls. And for this, I love to use like an incline bench. You may be able to set something similar up if you don't have an incline bench, but ultimately you just need something to prop your arm on, and then a low anchor point. And I usually fold the band in half here and hook it on one side, one end on each side of the clench band handle, and that just gives you a super solid thing to grip onto, and it's very comfortable. Getting into this, like I said, we're gonna be basically propping our arm up, our elbow from basically the back side of the shoulder all the way down to our elbow so that that's fixed, and then you're just preacher curling this thing all the way up. Big squeeze at the top, let it down nice and slow. And the key here is to make sure that you have a lot of tension pulling this into that fully straightened position. There should be absolutely no slack, and honestly, you should have tension basically pulling your arm straight so that you fully extend that bicep, get full range of motion, and you have tension all the way through that range of motion. That's why I love folding the band in half. So here we're doing basically the same thing as before, 3 sets of 8 to 15 reps per arm. And of course, if you don't have this and you can't set this up, you can do another preacher curl hack, where you use a bench and a foam roller to accomplish a very similar outcome. All right, first tricep exercise, we're gonna be doing some cross-body tricep extensions. The way that I love to set this up is to use high anchor points and 2 of them and 1 band on each one, the same band. Obviously it's a bilateral exercise, so you wanna be balanced between the 2. And if you only have 1 anchor point, you can just do this exercise unilaterally, just 1 arm at a time. But I prefer it bilaterally just because it allows you to be very stable and you can just push all that force into the triceps. So setting this up, make sure to grab the same location on each band. You can kind of match up, the tail, how much is hanging out. But I usually end up with, about this much tail, it's gonna change depending on your height. And then what we're gonna do here is get ourselves in a position. Arms are gonna come up basically to our chest. We're fully flexed here with our elbow. And then you're just gonna straighten your arm out, pinning those elbows down to your side, keeping those humerus bones pinned to your side. And then you're just gonna exhale and extend. And when you're doing this right, that point where the bands cross should just barely tap your chest at the fully extended position. You'll know what I mean once you start doing these. It's pretty easy to get into the groove as long as you're keeping those shoulder blades back, humerus bones pinned to your side, and only pivoting at the elbows. And again, it's all about control. Big squeeze at the bottom, flex those triceps, and then control it on the way up. And honestly, this exercise alone will make a heck of a tricep workout. So the same thing as before, we're doing 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps per side. So if you're doing bilateral, it's just 3 sets, 8 to 12. If you're doing unilateral, you obviously have to switch sides and get that reps for both arms. All right, so after you finish the push downs, we're now going to use the exact same anchoring configuration, and we're gonna do some overhead extensions. I just love doing these because you get a lot more stretch on that tricep, and it just targets a little bit different area of the tricep, and it really helps to pump these things up and just get them super fatigued. So we're basically using the same setup as before. For bilateral, same thing. If you don't have 2 anchor points, just use 1 and do it unilaterally. Grab yourself an equal amount of band with both hands. Then you're gonna step out and away, and you're gonna get these basically arms and elbows up and horizontally out to the sides, and then lock those, basically the humerus bones from your elbow to your shoulder in place. And then we're just extending, pushing out at the elbow, or pivoting about the elbow, and just cranking through the reps here. And for these, all you're gonna want, or all I'm gonna program, is 2 sets of 15 reps here, because your triceps are gonna be so pumped up from that first exercise that's about all you're gonna be able to get. And again, focus on form and control. Like, these are gonna really start to burn once you get about halfway through the rep range. I want you to focus on controlling it and grinding out all the reps with the same tempo and same control. And when you're done, your biceps are gonna be, or your triceps are just gonna be smoked.
All right, last exercise, we are going to burn out our triceps doing some bench dips. For the triceps, to set this up, I like to get my hands just outside of my hips here, and then I'm pinning my elbows into my sides, and then we're gonna get ourselves off of this bench so that we can do basically a dip. So to do this, I'm gonna get my heels out here, pulling my core nice and tight, keeping my spine neutral, and then we're just gonna drop down. And if you need to walk your legs out a little bit more to get deep, go ahead. But you wanna make sure to get as much elbow flexion as possible without causing pain, so that you get some good stretch on those triceps. And then we're just gonna squeeze it back up. And we're gonna be going for 20 reps here. So this is just a big burner, and if it feels too heavy, you can always just kind of scoot back in and lower that range of motion just a little bit so that you can get the right resistance for yourself. And again, we're doing 2 sets of 20 reps.
All right, that's the end of the workout, and at this point, your arms should be just pumped to the gills. Like, you should have a hard time reaching up to touch your head in the shower. Like, that's how you know that you did this exercise or this workout right. So drop a comment, give me a high five below if that's how you're feeling right now, because that is what we want. Also, if you liked what you saw today, be sure to smash that like button. Furthermore, if you want to see more content like this, exercise demonstrations, workouts, you name it, check out the on-screen video links. We got tons of content on this channel just for you. And if you need any of the bands or accessories shown today, head over to clenchfitness.com. We will hook you up, and thank you for watching.